So I was born and brought up in Mumbai. I went to school here, I went to college here. Abhi bhi I live in Mumbai. I operate entirely from this beautiful city that I have grown to love very much. मैंने एक कंपनी थी कॉम्यून करके. I don't know if anyone listening to this knows about Spoken Fest. It happens every year in Mumbai. It's Asia's largest spoken word festival. और उनके जो ऑर्गेनाइजर्स थे उनका नाम था कॉम्यून. रोशन अब्बास, अंकुर तिवारी और काफ़ी सारे टेस्ट जोसेफ, काफ़ी सारे फिल्म इंडस्ट्री और एंटरटेनमेंट इंडस्ट्री के नोटेबल पीपल ने ये कंपनी शुरू की थी और मुझे उनके साथ काम करना था जो भी कैपेसिटी में. मैं 15 साल की थी जब मैंने उनके साथ एक जॉब एप्लीकेशन दिया था दैट ओके आई वांट टू बी अ कम्युनिटी मैनेजर. और फिर उन्होंने बहुत अच्छी तरीके से बोला कि वी कैन नॉट हायर यू बिकॉज यू आर लिटरली नॉट इवन 18. बट मैंने हार नहीं मानी. मैंने केस हो जाएगा उन पे लिटरली. Why do you not read fiction? This is the question for you.
So after a lot of maybe thought process, now I've realized that I've not come across anything that has hold me. So my interest develops predominantly from curiosity, learning, right? So I got into reading purely out of curiosity. So if I'm not entertainment के लिए मैंने कभी नहीं पढ़ा. I have got other things that I do to amuse myself.
हमारा पेरेंट्स से मैंने सिखाई છે कि अगर कोई मोटा बात करता હોય तो you let them speak and then if you have something to say you add it, otherwise you just keep quiet and you absorb everything like a sponge and you learn. કારણ કે એમાં વધારે સ્ટ્રેન્થ છે. So
लगता तो बेखबर सा हूं मैं, लगता तो बेखबर सा हूं मैं, लेकिन फिर भी खबर में हूं मैं. अगर तेरी नजर में हूं मैं तो सबकी नजर में हूं मैं.
वाह.
नमस्कार दोस्तों, स्वागत है आप सबका एक और एपिसोड में डिजिटल दुनिया पॉडकास्ट पर. आज हमारे साथ है काशवी. मैं उनको बहुत कम समय से जानता हूँ बट आई हैव बीन अ बिग फैन. वो उनकी सोच बहुत डिफरेंट है. शी इज वेरी यंग एंड दैट ब्लोज माय माइंड कि काश मैं उनकी एज में उनका 1/10 भी होता तो मैं कुछ क्या कर रहा होता मुझे नहीं पता. तो बिना देरी के वेलकम टू द शो काशवी.
थैंक यू सो मच फॉर हैविंग मी. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. और आप एज का कंपैरिजन तो कीजिए ही नहीं क्योंकि बिकॉज व्हेन आई लुक अप टू यू आई गेट इंस्पायर्ड एंड आई थिंक दैट ओके वाओ व्हेन आई एम at your level I also want to be doing podcasts. I also want to be picking brains of cool people all over the world. So it's really, it goes the other way. I'm inspired by the work that you are doing.
थैंक यू काशवी फॉर योर काइंड वर्ड्स. तो चलिए म्यूचुअल एडमिरेशन से हम बाहर निकलते हैं. आई नो वी आर बोथ वेरी अनकंफर्टेबल विद दैट जोन. तो फॉर्मल इंट्रोडक्शन.
Yeah.
Kashvi is working as a freelancer consultant. She looks after PR, marketing, and personal branding in Web3. तो लगता बहुत सिंपल है बट ये बहुत ही चैलेंजिंग टास्क है वेब 3 में खास करके, क्योंकि जो ट्रेडिशनल इंडस्ट्रीज में ढांचे होते हैं, टूल्स होते हैं, टूल्स किट होती है, वो यहाँ पर फिट नहीं होती है. तो someone who is working in that zone, they have to be very agile, very creative and constantly keep on evolving, क्योंकि उनको ढूंढना है कि क्या वर्क करेगा. और जरूरी नहीं है जो इस बार वर्क किया है वो नेक्स्ट टाइम वर्क करेगा. तो it's a very challenging role, and I completely understand. So kudos to you for doing that, Kashvi.
Thank you so much. And I actually, मुझे लगता नहीं है कि ये बहुत ही डिफिकल्ट काम है. मुझे लगता है कि ये बहुत टाइम कंज्यूमिंग काम है. Anyone can be a marketer, anyone can learn how to build a community. There is a fixed set of soft skills जिसकी ज़रूरत है. And once you master those, you're on your way to, having like a career in these respective fields. लेकिन टाइम लगता है. इट्स अ वेरी कंज्यूमिंग प्रोसेस. आपकी पेशेंस इसमें चैलेंज होगी. आपकी क्यूरियोसिटी हमेशा आगे रहनी चाहिए. सो इट्स I would not say that the work I do is difficult. It's just very time consuming. And you can only be putting that time in if you're actually passionate about it. Because अगर वो passion नहीं है, then like, most people would just go in another direction.
तो आपने जो फलसफा कहा काशवी, उम्र के दो डिफरेंट पड़ाव पर है। तो मेरी जहन में ये बात बहुत क्लियर है। द हार्डेस्ट थिंग टू डू इन लाइफ इज द सिंपल टास्क। तो ये बहुत ही चैलेंजिंग होता है, बिकॉज एज यू से इट रिक्वायर्स ट्रिमेंडस अमाउंट ऑफ पेशेंस, डिसिप्लिन, डेडिकेशन, राइट। तो कई बार ये होता है कि कॉम्प्लेक्स दिखता है तो वो, लेकिन वो बहुत ही आसान होता है दिखाने में कि बहुत कॉम्प्लेक्स काम कर रहे हैं, बट जो बेसिक सिंपल चीज होती है, बिकॉज इट प्योरली डिमांड्स लॉट ऑफ ड्राइव, और वो क्यूरियोसिटी अंदर से आती है। यू कैन गेट इट फॉर रेंट फ्रॉम समवेयर एल्स।
एग्जैक्टली। आप सिर्फ आपका पॉडकास्ट का एग्जाम्पल ले लो, जो भी ये पॉडकास्ट सुन रहा है, आपको लगता है दैट ओके इट्स जस्ट टू पीपल ऑन अ गूगल मीट्स टॉकिंग, लेकिन इसमें भी बहुत सारे प्रोसेसेस होते हैं। आप गेस्ट को क्यूरेट करते हो, फिर आप उनसे एक एक कॉल करते हो उनको वार्म करने के लिए, फिर आप उनके लिए क्वेश्चंस प्रिपेयर करते हो, आप आपके मन में सेगमेंट्स प्रिपेयर करते हो शो के लिए, फिर आप रिवर साइड जैसे टूल्स यूज़ करते हो, उसको भी रिकॉर्डिंग करने के बाद एडिट करना होता है, और फिर यूट्यूब पे भी अपलोड करना होता है। उसमें करेक्ट टाइटल, कॉपी, डिस्क्रिप्शन, स्टूडियो मैनेजमेंट, ये सब चीज़ें भी होती है। सो नथिंग इज़ एज सिंपल एज इट सीम्स। इट्स ऑलवेज There's always a process and there's always a playbook to do it the right way.
I can't agree more. तो काफी एज यू मेंशन, राइट, सो हमारा बहुत ही फ्री फ्लोइंग कॉन्वर्सेशन रहेगा। एंड व्हाट आई एम वेरी क्यूरियस अबाउट इज योर जर्नी, बिकॉज इट्स सो स्पेशल एंड यूनिक इन योर ओन वेज, राइट, क्योंकि हर किसी की एक यूनिक जर्नी होती है और आपकी बहुत ही खास है। तो चलिए शुरू करते हैं आपके बैकग्राउंड से। सो आई नो फॉर श्योर, बिकॉज आपने मुझे बताया, यू वेर क्वाइट एन अर्ली स्टार्टर, राइट। सो बिफोर वी गो देयर, वेयर डिड यू ग्रो अप, वेयर डिड यू गो टू स्कूल, यूनी, कहाँ पर आपने पढ़ाई की?
So I was born and brought up in Mumbai. I went to school here, I went to college here. Abhi bhi I live in Mumbai. I operate entirely from this beautiful city that I have grown to love very much. I went to an IGCSE school in Juhu, and after that I switched boards for 11th and 12th. I went to Podar. If anyone listening to this knows Podar, I always at a Web3 event, I always find a connection with someone or someone's friend or someone's brother or sister who went to Podar. But I did my 11th and 12th from there. And then very recently, I graduated from NMIMS. I've done a degree in BBA with a specialization in marketing. So that's a little bit about my background. But having said all this about education, I've never been one who's passionate about studying. करना पड़ा इसलिए कर लिया, लेकिन ऐसा कुछ शौक नहीं था बहुत पढ़ने का। इट्स जस्ट टू कीप माय पेरेंट्स हैप्पी एंड टू हैव अ मेंटल सेफ्टी नेट इन माय माइंड।
तो हमने एक बहुत मजेदार बातचीत की थी विश के साथ, जो बैराचिन के इंडिया लीड है, राइट। एंड वी बोथ कनेक्टेड वेरी वेल ऑन मल्टीपल लेवल्स, एंड इट वाज समथिंग सो कॉमन कि उन्होंने जो कहा मैं भी वही सोच रहा था, एंड यू मेंशन द सेम थिंग, राइट। जनरल एजुकेशन हमें सिर्फ एजुकेशन किताबी देती है। वी आर नॉट टॉट हाउ टू लर्न थिंग्स, राइट। वो अ, किस्मत अच्छी होती है तो ट्रायल एंड एरर से हम सीखते हैं। कई बार लेट सीखते हैं, कई बार नहीं सीखते हैं। तो ये बहुत ही फैसिनेटिंग चीज है कि लाइक यू आर एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट पढ़ाई कर रहे हो, बट उसके साथ व्हाट इंटरेस्ट यू, कहाँ पर आपकी तवज्जो ज्यादा जाती है, इंटरेस्ट आता है, वहां पर आप निखारने लगते हो, खिलने लगते हो। एंड विदाउट नोइंग यू स्टार्ट द प्रोसेस ऑफ लर्निंग इटसेल्फ, राइट। तो वो, अगर वो एजुकेशन में लाइक वेरी फिलोसॉफिकल एंड एब्स्ट्रैक्ट कन्वर्सेशन हियर, बट ये बहुत ही जरूरी है कि लाइक along with education, if we get mindset how to learn something, anything, तो ये बहुत ही कई सारी चीजें लोगों के लिए सॉल्व कर लेता है, जो पर्सनल और मेंटल चैलेंजेस होते हैं। सो काशवी, let's come back to the point when you discovered Web3 for the first time. When did that happen?
आई थिंक Before I get to that, I wanted to say कि आपने जो बोला है वो बहुत सही बात है. I think इंडिया में especially education को पढ़ाई की तरह देखा जाता है versus holistic learning. और I like you said, जिसकी किस्मत होती है वो curiosity पे जाते हैं और questions पूछते हैं. The main thing is to ask questions. As a kid, मैं एक-एक चीज़ के लिए सवाल पूछती रहती थी. मेरे पेरेंट्स इतने इरिटेट हो जाते थे. लेकिन दिस इज़ हाउ आई हैव ऑलवेज़ बीन एज़ अ किड एंड दैट्स हाउ आई बिकेम curious about things. And once you have all these questions and people around you are not willing to answer them, what you do is that you go on the internet or you find books in a library to help you answer them. So, tying back to your actual question, which is how did you find Web3? I found Web3 because I was chronically online on the internet. मैं पूरा दिन, especially COVID के time पे भी, सिर्फ Twitter पे थी. मैं जब 16 साल की थी तभी मैंने इंटर्नशिप्स करना शुरू कर दिया था. मेरा 11th और 12th चल रहा था शायद से और मुझे क्लासरूम में बिल्कुल भी इंटरेस्ट नहीं था. इसलिए मैंने एक कंपनी थी कॉम्यून करके. I don't know if anyone listening to this knows about Spoken Fest. It happens every year in Mumbai. It's Asia's largest spoken word festival. और उनके जो ऑर्गेनाइजर्स थे उनका नाम था कॉम्यून. रोशन अब्बास, अंकुर तिवारी और काफ़ी सारे टेस जोसेफ, काफ़ी सारे फ़िल्म इंडस्ट्री और एंटरटेनमेंट इंडस्ट्री के नोटेबल पीपल ने ये कंपनी शुरू की थी और मुझे उनके साथ काम करना था, जो भी कैपेसिटी में. मैं 15 साल की थी जब मैंने उनके साथ एक जॉब एप्लीकेशन दिया था दैट ओके आई वांट टू बी अ कम्युनिटी मैनेजर. और फिर उन्होंने बहुत अच्छी तरीके से बोला कि वी कैन नॉट हायर यू बिकॉज़ यू आर लिटरली नॉट इवन 18. अम
नंबर
बट
का केस
मैंने
हो
हार नहीं
जाएगा।
मानी. मैंने केस हो जाएगा उन पे लिटरली. फिर लेकिन मैंने हार नहीं मानी. मैंने कॉन्स्टेंटली वो एक हायरिंग मैनेजर थे. मैंने कॉन्स्टेंटली उनके साथ एक रैपो बिल्ड किया और जब वो इंटर्न्स का प्रोग्राम उन्होंने शुरू किया तभी मैंने वो इंटर्नशिप जल्दी से ले ली. तब मैं 16 साल की थी और तब से लेके COVID के time तक, which is that's when like I turned 18, I would keep doing these internships, freelancing gigs, whatever was coming my way for writing and designing and personal branding here and there, whatever. और इसकी वजह से I was on Twitter a lot. So Twitter has played a very big role in my discovery journey with Web3 and crypto. I would spend a lot of time reading articles, threads, and just listening to podcasts and educating myself about Web3. So, wo pehla moment where I heard ki okay, this thing called Web3 exists was I think just like while scrolling. But when I got very interested is when जो Beeple का everydays का जो famous sale हुआ था, that was the aha moment for me. कि I've never heard of artists, especially India में, getting paid the way that Beeple was getting paid. And the biggest irony of it all was that the buyer, Meta was an Indian. So जब वो moment हुआ, I was like, okay, there is an opportunity here. There is a way, even if I'm sitting in Mumbai in my room, I can be a part of this industry and find something to do. So yeah, I started paying greater attention to it.
एक बहुत मजेदार कहानी है काशवी, लाइक जैसे मैंने आपको कहा था उसका कॉन्ट्राडिक्शन मैं बोल रहा हूँ अब, राइट? एंड दैट्स द ब्यूटी ऑफ लाइफ इटसेल्फ, राइट? एवरीवन्स जर्नी इज वेरी यूनिक एंड पर्सनल टू देयर ओन सर्कमस्टेंसेस, लेकिन वेब थ्री में कई ढांचे हैं, कई मुड़ाव है, कई पॉइंट्स है, ऐसे मोड है जो हर किसी को वो क्रॉस करने पड़ते हैं टू रीच वेर एवर दे वांट टू रीच, राइट? तो वो वो गलियां, वो रास्ते हर कोई गुजर के ही कहीं पर पहुंचता है. So it's ironical in the sense, right? In spite of our individual circumstances, the journeys will be very similar. Be it Twitter, be it Discord, be it Telegram. कहाँ कुछ क्या connect हुआ, connecting with random people across the globe and creating value, right? तो ये जो structure है, that is same for all of us. Circumstances, how we reach there can be varied, but I get like I try to look at things. little bit deeper, try find connection, connotation to be able to articulate a story, right? So ये मुझे बहुत ही मजा आता है। और खास करके आपने कहा Web3 ट्विटर से शुरू होता है। So like we constantly keep on saying, like in a lot of our episodes, right, that if you want to learn about Web3, you have to be on Twitter, Telegram, and Discord. Because if you're not there, you won't be able to get first-hand information. You'll get a lot of stale information.
Hi, yaar, like this is not like Web 2. And even with Web 2 now, honestly, no one reads articles and like all this stuff anymore. You have to be getting your information in real time. और आपने एक बहुत ही अच्छी चीज़ बोली कि हमारी जर्नीज ये सब प्लेटफॉर्म्स पे ही हुई है, लेकिन सबका तरीका बहुत अलग-अलग है।
Mhm.
एंड दैट्स आई थिंक one of the best things about Web3, that you can be as unique as you want and people will still like create a space for you, versus in Web 2 it's like everyone has a template, everyone has a style, and like एक तरीका है चीजें करने का, लेकिन वेब थ्री में सब अपने आप के तरीके बना रहे हैं, and that I think is what's very interesting about the space. When I was when I first discovered crypto Twitter, I was on a Web2 account. It still exists. Uska naam hai Kashvi Reads. I was before on the internet, before I became Kashvi.eth or KashviEth, I was Kashvi Reads because I used to read a lot of books and I used to post about them. क्योंकि मेरे आजू बाजू इतने सारे कोई रीडर्स थे नहीं growing up, और मुझे बुक्स के बारे में ज़्यादा बात करनी थी, राइट? लाइक सिमिलर टू यू, आई वांटेड टू लुक एट थिंग्स फ्रॉम अ deeper lens, from a more philosophical lens, and analyze what is it that we are reading and उसका real life implication है क्या हमारी लाइफ में। और इसलिए मैंने ये अकाउंट शुरू किया था। इट वाज इनिशियली एन इंस्टाग्राम अकाउंट, फिर ट्विटर भी खोला, और जब मैंने क्रिप्टो ट्विटर डिस्कवर किया था, मुझे लगा कि ओके, आई एम गोइंग टू मेक अनदर अकाउंट, बिकॉज़ ये अकाउंट पे मुझे ज़्यादा क्रिप्टो-विप्टो की बात नहीं करनी, क्लाइंट्स डर जाएँगे, प दे विल थिंक कि काश ये पागल हो गई है, आई डोंट नो व्हाट्स हैपनिंग। But eventually my crypto Twitter became even better than my main account. So I left the main account and now I'm only active on my crypto Twitter. Crypto alt.
It's like I'm listening to you, and it took me to for a moment took me to a different direction. uh, मैं कुछ और सोचने लगा और मुझे लगा कि ये पता नहीं I just felt I should share this with you. So I had been a ghost on internet from
Yeah.
2011-12 onwards. So I know I'm always there, but no one knows I'm there, right? So none of my friends, family were aware कि मैं इतना active. तो just to get an inward look कि क्या हो रहा है. I don't want to participate, I'm just observing. But this journey with Digital Dunya forced me to get in the arena. और उसके लिए कोई एक बहुत बढ़िया सा शेर है, which is what came to my mind and I wanted to share with you, but I wanted to give you some context to it. तो लगता तो बेखबर सा हूं मैं, लगता तो बेखबर सा हूं मैं, लेकिन फिर भी खबर में हूं मैं। अगर तेरी नजर में हूं मैं, तो सबकी नजर में हूं मैं।
Wow.
And
Beautiful.
that is so true for Web3, right? So every
It's so true. So many people are anon.
and the whole industry operates from an anonymity point of view, यहाँ वहाँ, but हर कोई, like whether they are into it or not, right? Whether my friends, family, they know about crypto, they are थोड़ा curiosity रहता ही है, but they pretend के like okay कुछ नहीं है. So that's why the two lines sum up how Web3 as it is for last 10 years. क्योंकि everyone likes to feel they are aloof to that, but everyone knows about it and everyone talks about it in some capacity.
Oh, for sure. And I think there's a lot of power in that privacy as well. Like, I'm out there on Twitter, Instagram, all these platforms, but my ultimate goal in life when I'm much older is that I'm chronically offline. Zero social media. No one knows where I am, what I'm doing. I'm just there somewhere far away with my family, and we're in our routine doing our things without being on the internet at all. I think I would still operate from an anon perspective, but Kashvi as a brand, as a person, wouldn't exist anymore.
तो काशवी, ये बहुत दूर चले गए, हम वापस आते हैं. So now you mentioned about reading. Another point I think which connects us very strongly. So if you could pick one or two book that actually completely blew your mind or had a huge impact on you.
Mm. Books that had a very big impact on me. There's quite a few, actually. I'm sure most people will give titles of non-fiction books if they come on here, but I'm going to I'm going to switch it up a little bit and think of fiction books. मैं जब छोटी थी मैंने ये एक book पढ़ा था called The Giver. It's about how society operates in like a utopian standpoint. The Giver by Lewis Laurie is the title, and it's about this character who wakes up and he realizes that he's not programmed the same way as his parents and the other children around him. And the story just goes in the way of like how he, brings back normalcy to a utopian society. So this book, I was in sixth or seventh standard when I read it, but it challenged my perception of existing society norms. So, uh, या और ये बुक अभी टॉप ऑफ माइंड है क्योंकि मैं कुछ दिन पहले स्कूल फ्रेंड्स के साथ थी और हमने ये बुक साथ में स्कूल में पढ़ी थी. So it's very top of mind for me. Besides that, there's this a brief history of capitalism, talking to my daughter about economics. It's by a Greek writer. I don't know how to pronounce his name correctly, but if you type those words, you'll find it. And it's like an economics textbook, but fun and for people to get a grasp of these concepts in the context of things that have already happened. So they talk about the 2008 bubble. They talk about like they talk about a lot of things that have actually happened in the world's financial history and contextualize it into narratives for people to easily understand these basic concepts. And these are the basic fundamental economic concepts on which crypto is also built. So I would say like one fiction, one non-fiction. Like these are two books that are top of mind for me.
बहुत ही अच्छी बात है क्योंकि it actually I'll definitely look them up. Though I tend not to read fiction, but I'll definitely look it up.
Why do you not read fiction? This is a question for you.
Uh, so after a lot of maybe thought process, now I've realized that I've not come across anything that has hold me. So my interest develops predominantly from curiosity, learning, right? So I got into reading purely out of curiosity. So if I'm not entertainment के लिए मैंने कभी नहीं पढ़ा. I have got other things that I do to amuse myself. But if I'm curious, if I want to
Hmm.
learn about something or ऐसे करते करते, be it history, politics, finance, I've been in finance through and through. So that was default for me reading.
Hmm.
So I've only read one fiction, which was strongly recommended to me by a random person I met. And she was so genuine and so forthcoming कि उनको ये किताब पढ़ के उनके ऊपर जो इम्पैक्ट था वो मुझे दिख रहा था उनकी बातों में. So I definitely thought I will read it, and that was
Hmm.
Shantaram. And I read that book in 2005. I enjoyed it, and I completed that book as well. And plus, like, as you know, मैं ऑस्ट्रेलिया में रहता हूँ, मेलबर्न में हूँ, तो द राइटर जिनकी ये कहानी है, जिन्होंने लिखी थी, वो इज लाइक 70 किलोमीटर्स अवे फ्रॉम मी. नॉट दैट आई एवर मेट हिम, बट वो कनेक्शन बिल्ड हो जाता है एसोसिएशन से, राइट? तो क्यूरियोसिटी बढ़ जाती है, एंड आई वांटेड टू
Hmm.
रीड his experiences. So I don't know if you have have you heard about Shantaram?
No, I've never heard of it, but hearing the impact it had on you, I will totally check it out. लेकिन मेरा ये belief है कि fiction is an important part of feeding your curiosity and learning about things. क्योंकि जब आप fiction पढ़ते हो तो आप खुद को किसी और के शूज में डालते हो और आप पूरी दुनिया उनके नजरिए से देखते हो और जब आप ये करते हो आपको समझ में आता है कि ओके हाउ डू पीपल who are not me think about the world? How do people perceive things in a way outside of my reality? And I feel non-fiction can't teach you that because non-fiction is very black and white. Do this, don't do that. You can do this, you should not do that. That's non-fiction for you. Fiction is I did this and it's going to have consequences and I don't know what they are, but let's explore them together because the world is full of possibilities and we should explore all of them and see what's out there and what could happen. So there's a certain nuance that fiction brings to my life, at least, that I think more people could benefit from reading because when you read fiction, you develop more empathy, you develop more creativity, your imagination broadens. But again, that's just my perspective. I just feel that reading fiction is important as well. And you can't just be learning the entire time. मतलब शांति दो दिमाग को, give it a break. Like it needs to just cool off as well.
ये तो बहुत मजेदार एंगल है. लेट्स गेट बैक टू आवर ऑर्बिट, कमिंग बैक टू वेब थ्री. तो काशवी, नाउ
Mm-hmm.
I want to know what was the first point, if you can remember, right, where you felt that this is you, this is where you're, this is where you belong, right? This is where you want to be. यहाँ पर खेलना है.
Yeah, this is a fun story. I was an early moderator in the VFriends Discord. The VFriends project is an NFT project by Gary V and his team. And at the time when it launched in 2021, the goal was for it to be like a creator economy turned into an ownership economy concept where if you buy an NFT, you're basically you're betting into Gary as a creator and buying into his ecosystem and getting access to him. And I thought this was a very cool concept. So I used to hang out in that Discord a lot. I used to help people. I was eventually asked to be in his first set of moderators. So I was a community builder over there. But despite all of this, I was very new to Web3. So I hadn't put much skin in the game. So I didn't have a lot of ETH. I wasn't going to be minting VFriends because it was just not financially viable for someone who had turned 19 and was like, exploring crypto for the first time. Um, and but I used to work very hard. Like I used to not sleep. I used to stay up the entire night. एक screen पे college के lectures चल रहे होते थे और एक screen पे V Friends community का सारा काम. Um, and there was a point where I felt a lot of FOMO because every VFriend NFT basically translated into every year's VCon ticket. Like it's a free ticket to VCon, which is a conference that Gary was hosting. And they started talking about the first VCon, and I realized that shit, like I'm not gonna be there, like I was really sad. I was really upset about this, but I didn't tell anyone. I was just like, no, it's fine. Like, just do your job, just play it. Like, we'll see. Jo hoga, wo hoga tabhi. And then there's this one night, okay, we're at a family function type thing and we're in the car and we're going and my dad starts telling me that like you're not sleeping well and this is not good, like there's no need to be doing all these things for someone else, just like like you have other things to focus on right now, why are you in crypto and this that. And when I have conversations with my dad about this kind of stuff, I take them very seriously because I trust his advice on a lot of things. And but then I was just like, no, and I had an argument with him that like, Dad, this is the future. Like there's a lot happening here. This is an insane opportunity that I'm even kind of on Gary Vee's team. And all of this whole argument went down. And this specifically happened because I told him I'm going to be staying up the entire night because there was a big event happening in Gary's Discord. I was tired. I'd been out the whole day, but I stayed up the whole night. And at 6 a.m., Gary's head of community sends me a DM asking me, "What's your wallet address?" And I was like, "Wait, what?" And he was just like, "Fast, Gary wants to know your wallet address. Tell me what's your wallet address." And 10 minutes later, there's a gift goat in my wallet. The gift goat is one of the most exclusive NFTs in the VFriends collection, which entitles you to a personalized gifting experience from Gary and his team. So they not only took my wallet address, but eventually also took my physical home address. And in the last 3 years, I've received 18 gifts from them. Um, and I just felt like this was such a it was such a sweet gesture from his team. Like they really didn't have to do it, but it was a recognition of the work that I was putting in, which I think is a nice thing about Web3, that if you really show up and if you're really putting in the work, people will notice it and they will recognize you for it one way or the other. So this was the moment I knew that okay, like I'm staying, and I'm gonna, in fact, focus more on this. So I remember 2 months
Doubling
later,
down.
World of Women came along, and that was it. Yeah.
Uh, Sorry,
Hmm?
Uttare, I didn't want to interrupt, but I couldn't resist. You just doubling down after that experience, all in.
Yeah, doubling down.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, but the true doubling down came when I started my role at World of Women. That's when I dropped everything else. Like I said bye to Web 2 entirely and just was focusing on WoW.
काफी बहुत बहुत सारी चीजें आपने बात की यहाँ पर which is actually drawing my attention, but I'm going to focus solely on one aspect of it, right? Because I can clearly see that's a very powering part of you and your story is your parents and your equation with your dad. So, because we both come from a Gujarati family, right? So there are some inherent structures and mindset. They evolve. They just a part of our family, right? Thought process. I understand the point of view that he was having. Skepticism is probably one of the top end, I like to believe. And then your journey of learning from him, but at the same time, teaching him about Web3 and crypto, right? Because I feel that could be a very interesting segment, which can connect to a lot other people as well. Because उनकी भी वही journey हो सकती है.
I'll start by saying that my dad is still a skeptic. Like, no matter how much work I do, no matter how much I accomplish or how much other people in this space accomplish, he is very much still a skeptic about crypto and where this whole industry is headed. And rightfully so, right? Like, his background is in building businesses and stock market and all these things. So it's two different parallels. And we have a lot of good conversations at home. I think Gujarati family में बड़े होके एक चीज अच्छी होती है कि we are very open about money talks and
Oh, oh.
finances के बारे में रोज कुछ ना कुछ बातें तो होती रहती है. I actually didn't know that this was just a Gujarati thing. मुझे लगा कि सब घरों में पैसे की बातें तो होती रहती है because why not? Like why not? Like it's such an important part of life. You would assume that all parents talk to their children about it. Lekin I realized much later in life that we are some of the lucky ones where our parents have grown up talking about money in a very fluid and transactional and transparent way. Not just making money, but also spending money and how you should be spending money. Whether you should be spending money, ki you should actually be investing that money. So yeah, crypto was a very interesting conversation, still is an interesting conversation at home. We have debates, unstructured, very unstructured debates, but good ones about the viability of the space and if there actually is anything here in the long term or not. My dad has his doubts, but I work in this industry every single day to prove him wrong about it.
And also, Kashvi, like, again, you mentioned two amazing aspects, your constant interaction and engagement with your dad on one side. And the second thing, like, we assume things, right? So I've been on that rabbit hole as well. So in my whole of my 20s, when I was living abroad, तो इतने सारे इंडियंस मिलते हैं, right? And my default mode was that what my experience is, what my environment was, that's India. And I'm a headstrong and very stubborn guy, silently stubborn, but very, very strong in conviction person. And I would head on with people, and like I could not connect to their India at all. I felt that is not India, right? ऐसा थोड़ी ना होता है. And then it took me a very long time, which you are much smarter. You picked it up quite early, that you opened up yourself. That finance conversation, the transparency, the transactional nature of it, the way to invest, the way to spend, right? Those things are very uncommon. And there are many other topics which are also very
Mm.
uncommon, right? It depends on where you grew up and how the environment shaped you. So then I realized that India के अंदर भी हजार इंडिया है. तो मेरा इंडिया जरूरी नहीं आपका और आपका जरूरी नहीं मेरा है. But at the same time, I have to be mindful. I learned that I'm open-ended, that okay, there could be very varied versions of India for different people.
Absolutely. The India is very diverse और बहुत ही अलग-अलग टाइप की फैमिलीज़ है, अलग-अलग टाइप की सोच है और अलग टाइप के अप्रोचेस है टू मनी एंड आई थिंक दे आर ऑल वेरी वैलिड और जो हमारे एक्सपीरियंसेस होते हैं इट्स नॉट कि दिस इज द ओनली एक्सपीरियंस देयर आर मेनी
Yeah.
मेनी मेनी अदर एक्सपीरियंसेस एंड um yeah, I'm just very grateful that I'm having the experience that I was born into. And I'm very, like, I acknowledge that privilege a lot of having parents that are supportive, that are, like they think I'm crazy, but they let me be crazy. They don't try to tell me ki this is how you need to be, like this is how you, like, go and become a doctor or something. Like they're not like that. They've always allowed me a space wherein I can grow into the person that I want to be, separate from their values. Of course, they're very strict about certain things. I will not say that I have chill parents by any means. They're very particular. They expect things to be done in a certain way. They are perfectionists, but they're my parents, and I'm who I am today because of them. And yeah, like nothing else, if you ask, like nothing else matters to me more than my parents. So, yeah.
Yeah, this is the point where I'll segue into Gujarati because I think a flavor house. So, Pappani Ladli is a very common Gujarati
Yeah.
terminology, like daddy's princess, right? So, I think I've
Mm-hmm.
not met your dad, but I so want to meet him purely because you are a reflection of his thoughts, his opinions, his vision, right? Knowingly, unknowingly, we tend to pick up things very strongly from our environment. And I can clearly see that you are so lucky to have him around because not only till today, but as long as that equation, that interaction keeps on going, it will be shaping you, molding you. Any J, it's so difficult to put it in words. आपने शब्दों में कहीं ना सके ना. You can only feel it, and every passing year you will feel that how valuable those contributions are. So, Papa Mate, I can clearly see how your eyes lit up when you talk about him, no matter what the context is, but I can see the glitter coming through. So, Ave, mane એવું કે, what are two things that you feel any youngster who's looking at Web3? જેને વેબ3માં કંઈ પણ સ્ટાર્ટ કરવું છે કે કંઈ પણ એન્ગેજમેન્ટ ક્યુરિયોસિટી છે પાર્ટિસિપેટ કરવું છે તો વોટ આર ધ ટુ ગો ટુ થિંગ્સ રાઈટ વેરી બેઝિક જ્યાંથી એમની જર્ની શરૂ થઈ શકે છે.
સૌથી પહેલા ઇટ્સ ઇમ્પોર્ટન્ટ કે તમને ક્વેશ્ચન્સ કેવી રીતે પૂછવાના છે એ તમે શીખો. બિફોર આઈ સ્ટાર્ટ ઇન ગુજરાતી એકચ્યુઅલી બિગ ડિસ્ક્લોઝર ફોર એવરીવન મને ગુજરાતી આવડે છે બટ ઇટ્સ અ લિટલ વીક વેન આઈ ટોક અબાઉટ વર્ક. મને મારી ગુજરાતી નોર્મલી ફેમિલીની જે પણ કોન્વર્ઝેશન્સ હોય એમાં વધારે ફ્લુએન્ટ છે બટ આઈ એમ ગોઈંગ ટુ ટ્રાય એન્ડ ગિવ ઇટ માય બેસ્ટ શોટ. સૌથી પહેલા આઈ થિંક યંગસ્ટર્સ શુડ ફોકસ ઓન આપણે ક્વેશ્ચન્સ કેવી રીતે પૂછે અને ક્યાં પૂછે કારણ કે ઘણા બધા ક્વેશ્ચન્સ હોય બધા એના મનમાં પણ ઇટ ઇઝ વેરી ઇમ્પોર્ટન્ટ કે આપણે રાઈટ કોન્ટેક્સ્ટ ગોતીએ ઇન્ટરનેટ ઉપર અને એમાં અમે ઇન્વોલ્વ થઈને પાર્ટિસિપેટ કરીએ કારણ કે દેર આર મેની પીપલ દેટ આઈ સી એસ્પેશલી in the India side of crypto where just too random, like saying the wrong things in the wrong places and not understanding the context. So, Pilla listen and any pachi you speak. Because that's how I started off as well. Pilla, I would only and only listen to people, understand ki su what thai che, like, like what are they talking about? Why are they talking about this? And only if I felt like I had something to add, then I would open my mouth and speak. Otherwise, I would just, as a youngster, at least, this is અમારા પેરેન્ટ્સે મને શીખવાડ્યું છે કે અગર કોઈ મોટા વાત કરતા હોય તો you let them speak and then if you have something to say you add it, otherwise you just keep quiet and you absorb everything like a sponge and you learn કારણ કે એમાં વધારે strength છે. So અગર તમે બહુ young છો અને you don't know much and you're just learning, congratulations, you're in the perfect place to be starting your journey, but be very mindful about it and ask the right questions, but listen, like just listen to the people who are older than you, who know more than you, understand what they're trying to do in this industry, and then you add your own flavor to it, and then you see ki, okay, how can I disrupt this or how can I build something that's even better. But everything you know will come from what you read, what you listen to, so focus on that.
Kashvi, I'm going to paraphrase what you just said for our audience as well. काशवी मैं बहुत दिल से मानता हूँ कि क्यूरियोसिटी और सवाल पूछना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होता है, लेकिन जैसे आपने कहा उसमें एक नुआंस भी है कि रेंडमली इफ यू आस्क द क्वेश्चन एक्चुअली इट टेल्स लॉट मोर अबाउट यू. आपने उस बारे में सोचा है, आपने कितनी गहराई में उसकी स्टडी की है या कोशिश की है स्टडी करने की, तो वो आपके सवाल बिल्कुल दर्शा देते हैं सामने वाले को कि आप रैंडम पूछ रहे हो, पूछने के लिए पूछ रहे हो, या आपको सीरियसली उस टॉपिक पर, उस मौजू पर इंटरेस्ट है और आपको समझना है. तो कई बार इट्स अ वेरी थिन लाइन राइट, बिकॉज वी ऑल से क्यूरियोसिटी एंड कीप आस्किंग क्वेश्चन can be misunderstood as laziness because I don't want to do anything. I'll ask you 10 questions. But actually, if I had done the research, I only need to ask you one question and give me the whole understanding. तो ये बहुत common है, and I completely like you put it across so well. तो बहुत ही बढ़िया रहा ये. Now moving on as we and sorry as we reach to our final segment. Now, what do you see happening in Web3 2025 in general and from India's perspective? And it's very open-ended, right? So it's just what you perceive, what is your perception for Web3 2025 and Web3 India 2025?
So, from a general context in Web3, I can speak from a marketer's point of view. And what I see changing is very close collaboration with developers. I think in 2025, we're going to see marketers and developers collaborate in ways that we've not seen before to really take Twitter by storm or like any other social platforms by storm and make good tech accessible to people. Because right now, I think a very real problem in crypto and Web3 is that a lot of people are doing the work and building really good technology and building great products, but they're not being marketed in the right way. In 2024, especially like Q4, I think companies have woken up to the fact that, okay, we need good marketers on board. We need people who can create content around what we're doing. And now those hiring cycles are going on. And in 2025, if the right people are placed in the right functions, we're going to see them collaborate directly with tech focused people and produce materials out there that really help crypto spread its footprint across the globe. So this is what I see like from a global perspective. There's also like there's stuff that your other guests may have already covered about like crypto and AI agents and like where that whole thing is going with um AI agents being the future of how we, kind of make things autonomous while focusing more on things that matter to us. So I won't go too deep into that. From India's lens, uh I see more and more women coming into the India crypto
Mhm.
scene, which makes me on a personal level very happy. I attended India Blockchain Week in December. Shout out to the W2 and Hashed Emergent team who were very kind in just the hospitality aspect of things. But so over there, I hosted a brunch with Base India. I'm aware that Soumya has come on the show before, and we hosted a brunch just for women in the space, and we had around 30 to 35 women show up, and it was really interesting to see that these women initially joined as participants in the space, but are now moving on to actually working and building in the space. So I'm seeing this transition of women coming in, not just from like a curiosity perspective, but from like a, okay, let's build something together. Let's get a job in crypto. Let's like, let's build this future together and not just be someone sitting in the sidelines watching it happen. So I'm seeing more active participation from women in India. And I think that it's going to be a big recurring theme for 2025. And I'm very excited about that.
काशवी आपने जो कहा वो इतना स्पॉट ऑन है तो इसकी दो पहलू है पहला पहलू kudos to you. I can see you are fully committed and your dedication comes out in your conversations, your thoughts, right? So kudos to you, number one. Number two, दूसरा पहलू जो है जो women in Web3, right? So I'm trying my best in contributing any small little way I can to make sure that we have a lot more female voices, right? Because I personally feel that it balances it out, right? We get lot nuanced conversations, lot nuanced thoughts. From a female point of view. And I have accepted there is a difference. So, just to make my process simple, I want to focus on different kind of voices. So, what you saw, I am seeing it as well. But I think Delhi dur hai. So, no chance or no point of being complacent. It's a long journey, and we all need to contribute in our own ways. So, thank you for that. Now, on the
And
marketing aspect,
I just
sorry,
want
go
to say,
ahead.
and I think we're doing a great job. Like, kudos to you and a lot of the other Indian men that I know in crypto. Not all of you, but some of you, you know who you are if you're listening to this, who really like facilitate these kind of spaces for women and entertain a lot of the questions we have and really like give us that reassurance that we need, because I don't think it's a solo journey that women have to embark on. It's a shared process. And a lot of the men that I've spoken to, whom I like, when I've had questions, a lot of my guy friends in crypto have shown up for me, and Indian guy friends. So I'm very grateful for it.
Mm. Thank you, Rashmi. Now, as we finish off, I want to finish off on something very, very critical and important that you raised, right? Uh, with marketing or media or PR or overall management of the tech, how it's perceived, how it's projected, how it's marketed, right? और ये मैं बहुत कॉन्फिडेंस के साथ कह सकता हूँ कि ये समस्या एवरी इंडस्ट्री में रही है, रहेगी, because it's we are so wired as human being. MEV model, right? We want to do the least amount of work and uh, get something best. But वो नहीं होता है. And especially with what you're doing, it does not operate on that mode, right? It needs a lot more understanding, lot more commitment, lot more intellectual bandwidth to be able to chart out something amazing. The magic does not happen by itself. जितना बड़ा मैजिक होता है उससे 10 गुना ज्यादा उसके अंदर मेहनत लगती है, प्रोसेसिंग में, थॉट प्रोसेस में, डेवलपमेंट में, क्रिएशन में. And why I connect so strongly with you is, like, as you've seen our journey as well, right? So there are a lot of people around, like, focusing on make short content, make price charts, make this, that, you'll get a lot more engagement. एंड थोड़ा मैं ढीठ हूँ, तो मैं कहता हूँ कि भाई मुझे ये आता है, मुझे ये समझ में आता है, और मुझे यही करना है. अगर कुछ होना है तो यहीं पर से होगा, वरना नहीं होगा. तो so many projects, right? Randomly, I understand, I like, and we make educational explainer about the video. We don't focus on the pricing, we don't focus on token, we don't focus on the trends. It's what's the tech, what's the objective, what are we trying to solve. So that, I think, like, hearing you say that as well, it just makes me feel warm. Okay, acha, you will be in places, and that kind of conversations are going to be very important. Hopefully more and more people can become aware and take that process and pain to build a brand, to build a campaign which is much more impactful rather than spray and pray model.
I have nothing to add. Jepan Bolwanu, you covered it. It's all been said and done. And I appreciate you highlighting this point because it is an important part of who I am as an individual. Like, I don't, yeah, I could be shilling tickers every day on X and making, I don't even know, absorbent amounts of money, but I don't do it because it's not me.
तो दोस्तों, जैसे काशवी ने कहा कि बहुत सारे रास्ते हैं, बहुत सारी मंजिलें हैं. आपको तय करना है आपको कौन से रास्ते चलना है और कौन सी मंजिल पानी है. मैंने और काशवी ने हमारे रास्ते तय कर लिए. मंजिल दूर है, बट कोशिश
Jari
टंग
hai.
ट्विस्टर, विद
कोशिश
गुजराती,
जारी है. हाँ.
जर्न है ज, तो कोशिश
हम्म.
जारी है. So,
हाँ.
thank you very much, Kashvi. I hope it was as fun as it was for me for you to come on this show.
110% बहुत मजा आई हुई बहुत मजा आया. I had a lot of fun. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm very excited for the future of Digital Dunya. I think it's a very exciting show, and I really applaud the way in which you have built this IP and where it's going to go. So very, very excited for what's to come.
Thank you, Kashvi, very much for your kind words. दोस्तों, मुझे उम्मीद है आपको ये एपिसोड में कुछ नया जानने को मिलेगा. हमें यूं ही फॉलो करते रहिए और बिजी डिजिटल खजानों की खोज में. अगली बार तक सवाल करते रहो, एक्सप्लोर करते रहो द डिजिटल दुनिया. नमस्कार.
Namaskar. Bye.